You don't believe in the real presence of Christ's body and blood in the elements, do you?
Of course I do. He says this is.
Wow. You clearly don't understand the perspicuous text of Scripture. You just ripped that out of context. Besides, the finite cannot contain the infinite.
Well, so you think Rome is wrong, because they take that passage out of context as well.
Of course. The flesh profiteth nothing.
So let me get this straight. Jesus didn't really mean what he said in his last will and testament because I'm not understanding what he meant?
Yes. Jesus meant himself when he said, "This is my body." He was speaking figuratively.
So at your last will and testament, are you going to really give your stuff away, or only figuratively?
Why does that matter?
That's what Jesus was doing. He was giving us himself both on the cross where he finished creation and atoned for sin, and also in the supper, where we obtain what he has given for us.
That's ridiculous. The finite cannot contain the infinite, because the flesh profiteth nothing.
Well, now who's ripping verses out of context? The section where Jesus says that he also says, "Unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood you have no life in you." So obviously his flesh does profiteth much. Besides, if the finite cannot contain the infinite, isn't this actually a limitation of the infinite?
Oh wait, God is immutable, and a man is circumscribed in one location. Therefore God won't do what you say he will.
Does God's nature change if he personally unites to man?
No. That would make the incarnation impossible, and Jesus wouldn't be truly God.
Well then, if God, as you Calvinists say, is sovereign, and can do whatever he wants without changing his nature, he can make human nature what he wants of it without changing it, right?
I guess so.
So do you believe, now that Jesus does what he says, and gives us his body and blood, or are you going to continue to put words in his mouth, and take what he says out of context, even though he himself determined a last will and testament to be the context of what you call metaphorical?
Of course not. Then I have to believe not what Scripture says, but what my senses tell me. It's still bread and wine.
So you're content to use human philosophy and reason to interpret the Scriptures and the mysteries of God. Okay, but my Jesus does what he says.